ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Of the Health Life Safety Funds. May I please have a motion to open the public hearing?
I move to open the public hearing on the resolution for Health Life Safety Funds.
Thank you, Mrs. Holzhauser. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Tyra. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Halsey. Holzhauser. Humble.
Aye.
Smith. Tyra.
Aye.
Motion carried, 601. Is there anyone here who'd like to address the board regarding the resolution for Health Life Safety Funds? Seeing none, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Halsey. Thank you, Mrs. Holzhauser. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Halsey. Holzhauser. Humble.
Aye.
Smith. Tyra.
Aye.
Motion carried, 6:02 p.m. Next order of business is the public hearing for the resolution to waive the limitation on administrative costs for FY 2020-23. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I move to open the public hearing on the resolution to waive the limitation on administrative costs for fiscal year 2023.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Tyra, any discussion? Roll call vote.
Feldman.
Aye.
Halsey. Holzhauser.
Aye.
Smith. Tyra. Wagner.
Motion carried, time 6:03 p.m. Is there anyone who would like to address the board regarding the resolution to waive the limitation in administrative costs for fiscal year 2020-23? Hearing none, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
Mr. Tyra, is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Holzhauser. Humble.
Aye.
Smith. Tyra. Wagner. Sullivan. Halsey.
Carried, 6:04 p.m. Board will now move on to public participation portion of the meeting. About here to begin, superintendent's report.
Thank you. First item, FOIA request. We've had one FOIA request that is in process by Mr. McKenzie. Congratulations to Lisa Vogel, a business teacher at Dunlap High School, whose hard work in helping our district meet the college and career pathway endorsement requirement 3 years early. Mrs. Vogel has worked diligently to establish pathway endorsements that allow students to be recognized for completing coursework in line with specific careers. This year, the Certified Nurse Assistant endorsement was approved by Mrs. Vogel and has 3 accounting pathways: an entrepreneurship and fire science pathway queued and ready for approval next year. Getting the pathways approved by the Illinois State Board of Education is no small feat, and we are thankful to Mrs. Vogel for her time and attention to detail. More information about the college and career pathway endorsements will be made available once our new website is complete. So thank you to Mrs. Vogel. Another thank you. Saturday was our graduation for the high school, and Mrs. Caslett was primarily responsible for that with her team. Brilliant move to move it from 3 to 1:30, because I was no sooner getting back to my truck and taking my gown off and it began to sprinkle. So well done, Mrs. Caslett, to you and your team. Thank you. We also have 8th grade promotions coming next week. DBMS on Tuesday, DMS on Wednesday, and then just a couple other things. You know, we have so many activities going on right now, as we know. The year is winding down, but the state series stuff is kicking off for everyone. So good luck to all our teams. I won't even try to mention all the teams and individuals we have moving on, because we'd be here all night. But congratulations to them and good luck in your endeavors at state. And then thank you to Mrs. Berg and her staff for arranging for tours this evening for everyone to show us the building. Certainly appreciating that. And then lastly, we have a special guest here. I'd like to introduce Carrie Jordan, who is here with some of her students for the Special Olympics Youth Leadership Training presentation. So Mrs. Jordan, I'll turn it over to you.
I'm Carrie Jordan. I'm a special education teacher at Dunlap Middle School. And this is Kristen Wallace. She is PE at Dunlap High School and is in charge of the Unified PE. This is Bennett Passy. Bowie Tyra, Claire Marquette, Mrs. William Tobias, and Jonathan Schwitters. And so we're here tonight because we just wanted to talk to you about our schools and our unified programs that we've got. So I'll do the first one as well.
So what does it mean to be a Special Olympics Unified Champion school? So they developed inclusive learning and social environments for all students with and without disabilities. So there's three components, unified sports opportunities, youth leadership, and whole school engagement. So each year we sign a commitment letter with the Special Olympics focusing on these activities in the components. Some things that we have done this year, so we have Unified PE at both DMS and DHS. Unified PE at Dunlap High School did a volleyball game against Limestone. We also did a volleyball game against Limestone and Washington. We did a kickball tournament with Limestone and Washington, and we did a field day at Washington, and then DMS went with us, so we did a field day at Farmington as well. And then
So that was our sports part of it, and then another component is whole school engagement. So we, Dunlap Middle School and Dunlap High School both planned activities for Respect Week. And so we had an entire week of trivia and games, and the students put lessons together to teach everybody about different disabilities. And I know Dr. Newman got to come down to one of those days. The next piece to it is the youth leadership. And so part of that is Dunlap Middle School attended an activation summit, so it was just a workshop training everybody on what it means to be unified. And from there, we had these 6 students, Christian Harris isn't able to be with us tonight, but we had these 6 students take initiative and come to us and ask us if they could apply to be on the state committee. It's called YAC, and they would be representing Dunlap at the state level. And so part of that was attending a workshop in Bloomington, and they learned how to be leaders, and so that was like their interview process. And from there, while they had to independently with their partners create goals for our district, and they have created speeches that we would love for them to share with you. So, and Claire's on her own, but she can.
Hi, my name is Claire Marquette. From the youth leadership training, I learned what it means to be a leader and how we can be better leaders at our school. Being a leader means to help, care, and give equal opportunities to all. As leaders of our school, we want to promote inclusion all year round and see students be inclusive, not only during the Respect Week we have once a year, but every day. We would like to see a unified bowling team and a unified basketball team at our school. We also had an idea that during our intervention time once a month, we could give lessons on inclusion. My partner Christian, who couldn't be here today, loves Skittles, so he and I came up with the idea that during our intervention time, we can give out Skittles as an award to those who are being involved in the conversation.
Okay, first of all, they made me do this help, and second of all, from the youth leadership training, we learned what it means to be a leader and how better leaders at our school. Being a leader means to help, care, and give opportunities to all. As leaders of we would like to make our school more inclusive. We want to create more meaningful inclusion, to make friendships that last not just for a class period. One way is start a unified sport, possibly incorporating our intramural sports into unified teams.
We want to make sure our students get what they need by ensuring equity.
We want to make sure we will take what we've learned at the leadership training to go back and teach each other in our school. We will make sure to include others who are different from us in what we are doing at all times.
We want to make sure our school is inclusive and fun for everyone.
My name is Denton.
This is Jonathan, and I'm William, and I'm a sophomore at Dunlap High School. And when we went to the leadership conference, we thought it was very valuable that we started giving some more responsibility to the students, and we started making it very, inclusive for everyone. And there's a lot of people at Dunlap who do want to help out, and who do want to make a difference. And sometimes it's just about knowing how to make a difference. So me and Jonathan feel like it'd be very valuable if we could help spread awareness for this, and we could help get other people involved who want to become involved, and just make it more of an advertisement around the school, so we could get people involved who want to be involved. And we really feel that once you are involved, making that meaningful inclusion and just making what you're doing very valuable, and not just being there, but truly being a part and being someone who's there for them. Not just in a time when you see them in class like they said earlier, but truly being there for them as a person. And we just feel that we need to take this to another level, and we could really step it up just by advertising throughout the school and making everyone find a way to get involved.
These guys did a great job, and we're super proud of them, and very excited that we got the opportunity to do that. So those are the goals that they've created for next year, and so there were 62 pairs, I do believe, that applied, and I would like to tell you that Claire Marquette and Bennett Passy were selected to be on the state committee representing Dunlap. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you guys at our unified events.
Very much, we appreciate you all coming. Nice job, thank you.
You know, I'd like to say something.
Sure.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you for coming. I'm a little biased, but our daughter Bowie, I've seen firsthand how this program works and has a positive impact on folks. So thank you. And I want to point out the fact that Ms. Wallace and Mrs. Jordan, thank you. This is something you're doing above and beyond. It's not something that you're paid for or compensated for. This is about volunteerism, and that's what you guys are doing. So thank you for what you're doing. We appreciate it. Good job.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to public comments. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the board? If so, please raise your hand. Okay, I see two ladies here. Before addressing the board, I would like to remind you of our process. I'm required to read this, so bear with me. Per board policy 2:230, we ask that when addressing the board, please identify yourself and be brief. Comments shall be limited to 5 minutes, and the speaker is asked to please conduct oneself with respect and civility towards others. Individuals less than 18 years of age are permitted to address the board if accompanied by his or her parent or guardian. The board typically does not engage in two-way conversations during the public portion of the meeting. Any follow-up will be addressed by the administration at a later date. Be respectful of others and protect the confidentiality. Complaints against individual staff, students, board members, even named or unnamed, shall not be orally presented to the Board of Education. Such complaints should be put in writing, signed by the person or persons making the charges, and delivered to the Board of Education Secretary. At this time, I'd like to ask anyone who wishes to address the board to come forward and sign the public participation sheet. Each speaker may come to the podium and begin by speaking into the microphone, stating their name and the topic they will be addressing. Thank you.
My name is,
Just slide it up.
Perfect. My name is Teresa Anderson. I'm a bus driver here in Belmont. I have been for over 15 years, actually in transportation. We've lived in the district for 25 years. My kids have graduated through Dunlap. I am here specifically to address the proposal that is going to be made later for the 2023 salary recommendations. As such, I've already just told you that I've worked longer than the 9 years that they are recommending for, let me pull that up, I'm so sorry. So, recommendation is for all non-certified employees working from 2 to 9 years to receive a 4% increase raise and an additional $1 per hour raise. That equates for most people in just transportation, I cannot talk to the others that are listed, to $1.93 an hour raise, that's what that is. There's an exclusion, and that exclusion is custodial, clerical aides, and bus drivers specifically, not transportation, bus drivers specifically. I want you to take note of that, please. Okay, and if we make more than $29 an hour, we're excluded. When we, that $29 is also very important because those people in that bracket, the 9+ years, make $29.03. So I think that was very purposeful, that it was marked at $29. There is no raise for us. There is going to be something, they don't call it anything, they don't name it, it's $1,000. That would be paid in December, $500, and then another $500 in June. A 0% raise. I think a lot of people are not happy with that. Anybody that falls in that 9+ year range. When they set the dollar extra an hour for everyone else in that 2 to 9 year, they called it a longevity adjustment. Now, in transportation, again, only solely in transportation, 2 years ago, it was proposed to the board and it was passed that we had a big disparity. At one point in time, 2012, we all made the same as a driver. You were a driver, you were a driver, you were a driver, we all made the same wage. Then in 2013, there were tiers added, another tier was added the next year, and they tried to close that gap 2 years ago. And thank you for that. I agree that people needed to be on par with other surrounding districts and be comparable in pay to that, and that is what did happen. But I will remind you that that tier that was at the lowest bumped up to a middle tier, effectively giving them a 45% raise. That same year, the next tier bumped up to the top tier, that middle tier. They received basically a 23% raise, and the top tier received 0. So, 2 years ago, we got a 0% raise. Last year, we had a 75-cent raise, and this year it's being proposed again, a 0 raise. I do find a problem with that. I feel like we should be appreciated equally. If you're a driver, you're a driver. If you deserve 4% and $1 on top, why is there a stipulation where only a certain group is eligible for that? It doesn't make sense to me.
So I'm asking you to take that exclusion out. And if you are in a non-certified position, it should be across the board that if you think what is fair is 4% and a $1 an hour raise, if that's fair for this person, it needs to be fair for this person. We're doing the exact same job in transportation. We are stretched thin. We have done multiple routes. We have had people double up, triple on routes. We've had to split. If I can swing by an apartment complex and pick up 10 because I have room for that, I do that. We have gone above and beyond, I believe, and this is very, I don't know, it is offensive. I find it offensive. Thank you for your consideration.
My name is Sue Whitson. I'm also a bus driver and also referencing the 2023 salary item that she was talking about. I just found out about this morning and I was in the middle of the field trip all day. So I haven't had time much to do a whole lot, but I've jotted down a few things that I felt about the same thing that Teresa said. I think if I figured it out right, there's 12 of us that make $29.03. And I agree with her that it was specifically made at 29 because we get 3 more cents an hour. It's really kicks you in the behind because I love my kids. My parents love me, and they know I'm gonna be a crazy lady. If someone's going through my stop sign, I'm gonna be like yelling at them and writing down their license plate if I can, which is very hard to do. You know, we love our kids. We wouldn't do this with every time I go on a field trip, whether it's basketball, sports, you know, speech, whatever. I say, oh yeah, I'm the bus driver. Like, oh my God, I could never do that job. And I said, I love it. I love it. I love what I do. But again, with not giving us 12 people, if I've counted it correctly, since 2012, there's 12 of us that fit in that category, and we're not going to get a cent raise this year. And like she said also, some of us are doubling up, or I even swing over on Miners Drive. Yeah, I can pick up probably about 8 of people. Somebody else, there's 3 buses picking up extra kids just to get them to school on time. People are doubling up on their routes. They don't get paid extra for that. Yeah, it's part of our job, but not really. We're each supposed to have our own route. And we're doubling up on somebody else's route to cover for that. And then they're still getting to school late, and we get, you know, oh, they're late again, you know. We are trying to do as best as we can when we don't have enough people. We've had people who've had medical issues with, you know, maybe a spouse and things like that have to be off. People have, you know, other obligations that they have to do once in a while. I mean, I barely ever take a day off. And because I care about my kids. I'm on my bus routes subdivision Facebook page, and I let them know for some reason if I'm not going to be there in the afternoon, make sure you guys are at the corner, you know, or you're picking up your kindergarten kids. You know, I try and be proactive and let them know, and I think they appreciate that. I also noticed at the end of the thing, somebody pointed out to me today that administrators got a 4% raise. We got nothing, or aren't going to get anything. You know, I think you guys should appreciate our longevity. I'm like 8 out of 12, so I'm the 8th person in line. And I've been here, I'm finishing my 11th year. And I would like to be appreciated. But our longevity, punctuality, I mean, my boss never has to worry if I'm not going to be there. I'll call at 5:30 if I'm sick, and I will call in, and I somehow would like to find out, you know, if it's going to be covered or whatever. You know, I care even though I'm at home sick. They've doubled routes. They double routes in the morning and double routes in the afternoon. We're lucky if we can get a spare bus to come help pick up some kids that live maybe over in Prairie Vista or whatever, some of the other apartment complexes, Terra Vista and Prairie Vista, yeah. A lot of us that have been here a long time, we know most of the other routes. So if someone says, oh, we need someone to pick up, we know exactly where to go and pick them up. The newer people, and there's not too many that are brand new, but we have been around so long that we know the different routes, which helps when we're trying to cover. And does the increase, I don't know, it didn't specifically say, is this just for the regular drivers that are below us top 12? Or does that include the subs will now get a $1 pay increase and 4%? Or there's no specifics in that, so I'm not sure on that. Okay, in the last 11 years, our increase in our wage, so my 11 years that I've been here, I've gotten a $2.38 raise for that full 11 years. And I know you're not supposed to talk about raises and stuff like that with other people, but, you know, I mean, like I said, I do my job because I love it. And I will tell you that I've gone to HR on my own personal thing that there has been many discrepancies. Every year something happens to me where I get, lack of a better word, screwed over. This year, I didn't get a midday, and I had one last year. That's $8,000 I'm not getting this year. For me, $8,000. I do a job, I do expect to get paid, but I got passed over. And I went to HR, but I can't do anything now. You know, so this on top of that is kind of like, you know, what if August comes around, August 16th comes around, first day of school, and, you know, you guys vote against, you know, any kind of increase for us 12 people. What happens if we walk in and we all 12 quit? What's gonna happen then? How are the kids gonna get to school then? I mean, you know, I hate to be that way, and I don't want to, because like I said, I love my job. But I think it should be reconsidered on how it's worded and what's gonna happen in the future. All right, thank you.
Anyone else to address the board? Somebody say yes.
My name is Brianna Graham, and our family is here on behalf of our son Knox. He is a kindergartner at Eggery Grove. Knox was born with a rare genetic disease called hereditary spastic paraplegia type 3A. It essentially causes a miscommunication between his brain and his muscles, leaving him unable to walk unassisted. Over the past year, Knox has gone from being primarily wheelchair bound to being in his open front walker more than 90% of his school day. This incredible accomplishment is primarily due to all of the hard work invested in him between his amazing teacher, Mrs. Florio, his one-on-one aide, and all of the wonderful physical and occupational therapists that make up this team at Hickory Grove. I'm not a public speaker, I'm very emotional, so bear with me. We believe this transition is one of many in Knox's future, and that he can achieve anything he puts his mind to. One thing Knox is physically unable to conquer, however, is a transition from the playground blacktop at Hickory Grove to the play surface with equipment. If you were to visit the school during kindergarten recess or any outside playtime, you would see 100+ children running around, playing with one another. If you looked closer, you would see my son excluded to the blacktop, as he is unable to maneuver his walker or his wheelchair over the current rubber mulch onto the playing area. Inaccessible surfaces can pose barriers for children with disabilities who may use canes, crutches, walkers, or wheelchairs from ambulating through the play area. Pushing a wheelchair or walker over mulch requires tremendous physical effort. When so much effort is exerted, little to no energy is left for play. Most significantly, inclusive play between children with disabilities and children without disabilities is threatened when the playground does not have accessible equipment and surfaces. Physical barriers also prohibit adult caregivers with disabilities from engaging with their children and/or responding when a child is in need of assistance. We are here to ask that you reconsider replacing the rubber mulch with wood mulch at the Hickory Grove Playground and strongly consider a poured-in-place surface. Although mulch falls under the category of ADA compliant, please be aware that it does not equal accessible. It simply meets the requirement of a fall impact. That is it. Loose fill surfaces have a multitude of reasons why they are inferior to a poured-in-place surface. Currently, the rubber chips spread to the blacktop and sidewalks, making it hard to ambulate a wheelchair and/or walker if not properly maintained. The current surface is not maintained, and rubber mulch is spilled all the way out into the parking lot. I'm confident it would be the same case with wood. Loose fill surfaces get displaced and have to be regularly maintained to keep up the thickness that meets that ADA fall impact surface requirement. It can conceal unwanted or unknown items such as animal droppings, broken glass, sharp objects, etc. Wood mulch compacts and degrades over time and needs topped off every year and fully replaced every 3 years if done properly. A poured-in-place surface would cost more upfront, but would eventually be a cost savings option in the lifetime of the play space. We beg of you, please do not consider this as an issue for one child out of many. This is an issue that affects every child at Hickory Grove. You are allowing it to show them that a disability can equal different treatment, and that it's okay. I end with this. If you personally had a child in our situation, would this be an acceptable solution? Thank you.
I don't think this is legal for me to jump in like this per board policy, but I don't think Brianna did a very good job of explaining to you that Knox can use all of the playground equipment. He just can't get there. So if he is put on the climbing structures, he can crawl up the climbing structures once he gets there. He just can't get there on the surface that's available now. He can climb on the net with assistance or support, making sure that he doesn't fall, obviously, but he's able to play on the playground if he can get there.
Thank you. This concludes the public participation portion of the meeting. The board will now move on to the information discussion items. Knox, thank you for coming. The school activity accounts reports are included in the board packet. Is there any discussion? Information regarding the recommended board policy update included in the board packet. Is there any discussion? Information regarding the 2023-24 transportation contracts is included in the board packet. Is there any discussion? Information regarding the consolidated district plan is included in the board packet. Is there any discussion? Information regarding the risk management plan is included in the board packet. Is there any discussion? Information regarding the July 2023 out-of-state teacher conference is included in the board packet. Is there any discussion? Information regarding the 2025 Forest trip to New York City is included in the board packet. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, just a comment about that. In the, I don't know if Dr. Dillon can address this, but what type of safeguards do we have in place? Because I think all of us have heard of the news on the media how New York City is not the safest place. So I want to make sure we have a group of kids. I'm not sure how many this is. I believe it's the choir. It used to be a very large planting to ensure that all of our kids stay safe while we're there.
She's asking about the safety of the New York trip. I can tell you first, my daughter is going, so I'm very comfortable with the safety aspects that are in place with that. They've done similar trips last year. Katie, do you want to talk about the specifics? I mean, you're much more in tune with that than I am.
Yeah, I mean, she just told them about it, so as far as numbers and such, she doesn't have that yet. But like, for example, the band just went to Disney World over spring break, to a clinic, and they have, they have a lot of parents that go with them, so they have them as chaperones. I don't know, I'll be honest with you, I've never been to New York City, so I don't know, she had the itinerary on there. I know they were talking about going to, some oral clinics and such as that. On top of obviously the school chaperones, there are, I'm guessing, in the past, when we've done these trips, there are a lot of parents that go with them too, so there are usually quite a few. Again, I don't have numbers because she hasn't started the sign up yet. It's kind of get it approved so they know they can go, but it's definitely something I can have multiple discussions with her about as far as where they're gonna go, where they're gonna stay.
I just wondered if they could give us an update once they get the numbers of how many chaperones for students.
As a parent of a child that's going, they gave an overview of the program. I mean, these kids aren't going on the subways to get to different locations. They're charter bus and, taken as a group, and it's nonstop from the time they get up to the time they go to bed. So they won't be in areas of town on their own or traveling in areas that they shouldn't be as children.
Information regarding the 2023-24 salary recommendation is included in the board packet. Salary, is this salary for? Okay.
I'll see it over here. Microphone's over there. Pulpit over there. But some of the things that have been said are probably true tonight. It's very difficult to make these kind of recommendations. I spend hours running spreadsheets, trying to figure out, you know, the easy thing is just to come and say, okay, let's give everybody 3% raise, or whatever the numbers are, but then you gotta cost it all out, which I spend a lot of time doing. Plus, this district has a history of, you know, 8 or 9 years ago, there was different structure of how we paid people. All those people got grandfathered into the old structure. That's the top end. And at the bottom end, we have this issue that we've been talking about for the last 5 years, where minimum wage is going up rapidly. So our beginning salaries are going up rapidly. At the same time, the people in the middle are either not getting raises or not getting, you know, the same kind of raises. So you've got this compression going on between beginning salaries and salaries of people being here 3, 4, 5 years. We have situations where people make 25 cents more an hour than somebody just starting, and they've been here 4 or 5 years because they started at $12 an hour with the old raise, and then they got, and you know, it freezes different years. And so when you look at all of this, you know, then the other issue you have, you know, some of these groups we've, you know, made more full-time. If you're full-time, you're eligible for insurance. You know, single insurance costs, the district pays 90% of the insurance, the, you know, employee pays 10%. You know, that cost is, you know, $5,800, $5,900, you know, to the district for single insurance. If they get family insurance, they, you know, the district pays 70%, they pay 30%. That cost is $14,400. So we've got more people that have gotten, that's an annualized cost, not a monthly cost. So there's lots of things that I look at to make these kind of recommendations. And that's what it is, it's a recommendation. One thing I've discovered is the 2 to 9 year thing is not really accurate. It really should be 2 to 9 years for aides, 2 to 8 years for everybody else, if we go with the structure. So we have people at the top that make, in lots of cases, $4 or $5 an hour more than the middle people, who then make $3 or $4 more than the lower rate, you know, the people in the first couple of years. And so this structure, and like I said, one thing I will change in this, if we stick with the structures, it's really not 2 to 9 years, it's 2 to 8 years for every group except for aides, and aides would be 2 to 9 years. You know, the 2 to 9 years in some of these groups makes some weirdness. And yes, I did exclude the people at the high end of the range and all the groups. You know, these are the main groups, because there's no way to bring things up or, you know, bring things more to parity without having a freeze at the top. We talked about a freeze at the top last year. We did not implement it. It was discussion, but it was not done. I don't think it was at this level that it got discussed. It was discussed more at the administrative level. So that's the point of that. The CODAs and physical therapists, they are paid significantly less than their peers at CECO and Peoria. The $25 an hour for starting wages brings them in line with the starting salary at CECO, and we have had a little bit of trouble filling some of those positions, but, you know, there's only like 7 people in that group. So that is why, and we did not talk about adjusting their starting salaries at all when we adjusted all other starting salaries. The other starting salary that probably, you know, there's probably some others that, you know, I'm not going to get into right now because it's not in this part of the proposal. And then the administrators, we have a lot of administrators here that make significantly less than teachers in the same building, you know, and yeah, there's lots of reasons for that. I'm not saying it's not fair or anything else, but I'm just saying that because of that, it's really hard to hire assistant principals and things, because you know, most people, you know, by the time they want to be an assistant principal, are making as much as what we want to pay our assistant principals. So that is the reasoning behind that. There's a few people that really, after I put this in the board packet, people come to me, like the head of maintenance, you know, where does he fall? So, you know, he would fall in the 4% area. You know, so there's a couple of people like that. So there's, but that is how I developed this plan. It is not perfect. The total cost of all this would be about $500,000 next year. If we took the $1 thing out, it would decrease it by about $150,000 next year. So it is decent money. It does give some of these, some of these employees, $1 or something or hour raise, obviously. If they have $1 plus 4% on their original base, that obviously increases it quite a bit. On the revenue side, we're expecting about $1 million and $1.3 million extra revenue within the education fund next year, probably $2 million across all of the employee, the operating account, funds, transportation, and buildings and grounds, and tour, and things like that. So we can afford it. Obviously, it's we're still probably, if we can get these kind of raises, we'll still be talking about the deficit budget next year. So
I appreciate your hard work on this. I do know that with our teachers, if they come to a certain point and they're not able to receive, when they're off the salary scale, we do something for our teachers that are off the salary scale.
it's 3.5% this year.
Okay.
For next year, if they're off the salary scale, they'll get 3.5%.
Okay, and I understand that we have, the need to recruit new and younger staff to retain, but I do feel it's important that we honor those people with longevity who show up for work, and I understand you're wanting to balance the discrepancy in their pays, but I'm wondering if we could maybe rework or revisit or spend a little bit more time thinking about
Right, I'll cross that out and let you know what that is later this week. And like I said, it's not a perfect solution. It accomplishes certain things. There's a lot of talk in the district how the district doesn't appreciate longevity, and that's absolutely not true. But
I know, and we do. We appreciate those people who show up for transport or kids.
Right.
We all are getting the text that this bus route is going to be changed. I mean, 3 and 4 a day. So I know that we do. I used to say this as a principal and a superintendent. Our bus drivers, like everyone else, our bus drivers especially, that's where a lot of your discipline problems come from, and you earn your way into heaven. I don't know how you think, but that's how I feel. But I also understand balancing a budget, but I think maybe we could revisit.
Maybe the real answer is I shouldn't have included bus drivers. I don't know. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss that in necessarily. Obviously, bus drivers are somewhat covered by the state, so sometimes you have different revenue sources. You can make different decisions, kind of thing. There are a couple of groups I think we should redline. Maybe bus drivers. I mean, the other thing about bus drivers is it's only full time if they really want to work it. So they don't get those. They get IMRF, which we pay 5.5% for IMRF for their pension, but there's some full time positions I think we should be redlined. But there is a couple, like the bus drivers. That's also a very hard position to fill, so maybe,
I understand, but I also know.
Maybe I got a little slap happy on a Friday afternoon when I put this together.
Well, we can rework this and maybe revisit it, but I do have to say, we appreciate all our workers, our administrators, our teachers, but, the support staff, especially bus drivers, every bus driver we've ever had has been wonderful. And they do look out for kids, and I know you know that, and I just think maybe if the board feels so inclined, maybe we can take a revisit on this bus situation.
I completely concur with Gabby. I think we need to take a look at that. And Sue and Teresa, I know you spoke. I know, Sue, I know how dedicated you are. I see your posts on Facebook, and she will call out anyone who is not following the rules, and she loves her kids, and I know, just like Abby said, I don't have kids that ride the bus, but I do get a lot of text messages during the day telling me, my child has switched the bus 5 times, and I'm getting text messages. So We do thank, just like Abby said, everyone in the district, support staff, and we do appreciate everything you do, and I want to make sure that you do feel valued, and we do appreciate that. So I think it's something that we absolutely need to revisit, so thank you.
Abby, I just have a quick question. And you and I can talk offline too, Mike, if it's some complicated answer. But can you clarify for me you said the one class or a couple classes of people, you're going from the 2 to 8 years and taking them out of the 2 to 9 years? Can you dumb that answer down for me? Because I lost you there.
When you look at the years of service, there's a natural break when you look at custodians as an example. If you go 2 to 8 years, it makes sense. If you go 2 to 9 years, you literally have 2 people that one would get that may be exactly the same amount. One's been here 9 years, one's been here 8.5 years or something. And so it just doesn't quite work right with 2 to 9 years. And so that's just a very specific example. But it makes more sense when you do all the things, say 2 to 8 years, not 2 to 9 years.
It has to do with the people that we have, not necessarily with the math.
Correct. It's the specific people that fall into these categories, yes, that are in, like I said, what I'm trying to do is move up the people in the 2 to 8 year range that minimum wage is increasing so much that the starting wages have gone up. You know, the minimum wage is $13 now. In 6 months or 7 months, it's going to be $14, and 19 months, it's going to be $15. And so our starting wages are still going to have to go up a little bit, probably not next year, but certainly the year after. And so you have these people between 2 and 9 that have, you know, like people said, you know, there's been, you know, they started at 14, now they're making 16.25, and they've been, and the starting person will make 16. So it's to reward those people that have gotten kind of pushed out, not really reward them, but to make it more equitable based on the fact that that minimum has increased so much, and they have not been increasing as much as the minimum. That is what the structure is trying to represent. And so, and like I said, the clarify, I think when I did 2 to 9, I was looking at the group of aides, and that's what I ended up putting on the thing. It really should be 2 to 8 years for everybody, except for the aides, which should be 2 to 9. So it makes sense based on where everybody's at and what their current salary is. And as far as subs, I was not looking at this as the dollar to be assigned to subs. The subs would get the 4%, but not the $1 when I did the calculation. So mentioned subs.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments? All right. This concludes the information discussion items. The board will now move on to the consent agenda. Is there any discussion regarding items on the consent agenda? May I please have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Thank you, Mr. Feldman. May I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Wagenbaum. Motion carried. 6:53.
Roll call vote.
I don't see it on here, but let's have a roll call vote. Aye. Oh, I see it. Motion carried. Thank you. I see it now. Board will now move on to action items. Excuse me. The bill list, treasurer's report, and district investment report are included in the board packet. May I please have a motion to approve payment of bills? Thank you, Mrs. Holzhauser. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Wagenbaum. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Aye. Motion carried. The administrative contracts are included in the board packet. May I please have a motion to approve the administrative contracts?
I move to approve the administrative contracts as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler. Is there a second? Feldman. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Aye.
Eichelkraut? Feldman? Elzingay? Olszewski? Humboldt?
Aye.
Smith?
Motion carried. Earlier this evening, the board held a public hearing regarding the resolution of health life safety funds. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution. Thank you, Mrs. Elzingay. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Eichelkraut? Feldman? Elzingay? Olszewski? Humboldt?
Aye.
Smith?
Motion carried. Information regarding the resolution to intervene in property tax appeals included in the board packet. May I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I move to approve the resolution under the name of the property tax appeals presented.
Thank you. Is there a second? Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Wireball. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Feldman? Elzingay? Olszewski? Humboldt?
Aye.
Smith? Tyra?
Aye.
Motion carried. Approval of the MOU agreement with Clean Energy Design Group is the next item on the agenda. Information regarding the memorandum of understanding with Clean Energy Design Group is included in the board packet. I do know there were some questions, and Dr. Adrian sent us all an email today, so I'll ask for a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding agreement.
Sorry, you talked to the finance attorney Ellsberg, did they have good responses?
All right, may I have a motion to approve it? Thank you.
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding agreement with Clean Energy Design Group.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Tyra. I really like how you're on the ball here. Thank you, sir. Any discussion? Early on, give him a couple months. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Feldman? Elzingay? Olszewski? Humboldt?
Aye.
Smith? Tyra?
Aye.
Motion carried. Information regarding Tyler software agreement is included in the board packet. May I have a motion to approve the Tyler software agreement? Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Molzhauser. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Elzingay? Olszewski? Humboldt?
Aye.
Smith? Tyra?
Aye.
Motion carried. Information regarding the updated textbook novel review protocol is included in the board packet. May I have a motion to approve the textbook novel review protocol? Is there any discussion needed?
Can I ask?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you just, Mr. Andrews, just try and maybe use the mic so people can hear you, but again, just kind of summarize or dumb this down for me, that I can, because I read, your email and synopsis and everything, but I'm not sure I get the, again, cliff notes, no pun intended, but just keep it simple.
Yep. So the protocol that was approved at the last board meeting was a very thorough process that had been going through all those different categories just to show these are all the considerations that go into when I'm selecting a novel. They're not necessarily present in every novel. That would be extensive a lot in the Bible in terms of length. So what this does, as Mr. Friedman spoke at the last board meeting, is to try to streamline that process. So it's still having, obviously, it go through the same vetting measures. So at the high school, it would go to Mr. Friedman, and then from there, it would come to me for final approval. And then anything that has any concerns regarding profanity or sexuality would come to the board for review. And then if need be, based on that, potentially some action the board would be asked to take. But much shorter summary, pointing out any concerns specifically to sexuality and profanity.
Portion where they're talking about sexual acts.
That would be included in the sexuality portion.
That's the biggest concern.
But the way I understood it, just from Mr. Andrews, is that Friedman's involved, and you're involved, and it comes to the board if we've got questions.
Absolutely. Correct.
Well, we'll hear about it, Tim. So I'm gonna make a motion to approve the novel review protocol, Abby.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Farrar. Any discussion further? Roll call vote.
Feldman. Hassan. Olszewski. Humbles. Smith. Tyra. Wagner.
Motion carried. Earlier this evening, the board had a public hearing regarding the resolution to waive the limitation on administrative costs for FY 2023. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the resolution. And noting that this is due to the transition of our special ed program, where we have more administrative members in that. Is that correct?
Yeah, what this is based off the AFR and the financial report that's done by our auditors, which is Lawrence. And this is based off of fiscal year 21. And at that time, we were pulling things from CECO and bringing it in-house. Mr. McKenzie, in his review of the books now, instead of coding to CECO, it's in-house. That triggers a more than 5% cost, which then requires some additional action. We're in the lower 25% quartile. And so with that, in order to move on by June, pass a resolution, and that's why it's here. Out of 381 schools, we're 375th as far as administrative costs per pupil, so we're one of the lowest in the state. So that's where we're at right now, but again, that's because a lot of our costs are going out, they're moving back in, and this will adjust over time.
Thank you, Dr. Hammond, for that explanation. May I have a motion to approve the resolution? Thank you, Mrs. Holzhauser. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Feldman. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Hassan. Olszewski. Humbles.
Aye.
Smith. Tyra. Wagner. Feldman.
Motion carried. This concludes the action item portion of the meeting. May I please have a motion to adjourn the closed session?
I move to adjourn to closed session for following purposes as stated in the conversations on dismissal of specific employees, student disciplinary cases, discussion of minutes of meetings, local collective negotiation, security procedures, purchase, release of real property, and litigation.
Thank you very much. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carried, and it is 7:04 p.m. I want to thank everyone who took the time to come tonight. Thank you very much for
I think it would be good for you to like, because I do understand that it's
gotta go.
Okay, thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carried, and the time is 7:56 p.m. It's my husband's birthday tonight, so I should have probably made this go quicker. Could I have a motion to approve the human resource consent agenda? Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Tyler. Ms. Holzhauser, any discussion? Roll call vote.
Feldman. Felsenke. Olszewski. Humbles.
Aye.
Smith. Tyra. Wagonma.
Motion carried. May I please have a motion to approve the settlement agreement with the student for 2023 DP0087?
I move to approve the settlement agreement with student 2023-DP0087 as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Tyra. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Wagenbaum. Any discussion? Should we vote on this instead of those in favor?
Oh, that was nice.
Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Felsenke. Olszewski. Humbles.
Aye.
Smith. Tyra. Wagonma. Feldman.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Mr. Feldman. May I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Felsenke. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carried, meeting adjourned.